Alrighty, this video is for the Robinson R22 student, cockpit familiarization. I know there's a lot going on here, check this out. I know there's a lot going on, I know it's very confusing, but don't worry, I'm going to talk you through it, and within no time you'll be able to easily identify all of these gauges and what's going on. Let's go. Alrighty, let's start at the top with our warning light. Our clutch light, when illuminated, it means the clutch is busy engaging or disengaging. And if it comes on during flight for more than 7 or 8 seconds, you have to pull the clutch circuit breaker and land immediately. And our clutch circuit breaker, you can see here, is in front of the seat of the passenger. And as you can see, the clutch circuit breaker is a different color and it's also a bit bigger, just to make it easier to identify. Next is the main rotor temperature. If this goes on, land as soon as practical. It indicates excessive temperature in the main rotor gearbox, not the rotors, in the main rotor gearbox. If you hear or feel like unusual noises and vibrations, land immediately. Okay, main rotor chip and tail rotor chips. This indicates metallic particles in the rotor gearboxes. Land as soon as practical. If accompanied with noise and vibrations, land immediately. Starter light, it means the starter motor is engaged. If it doesn't go off when the starter key is released after you started the engine, immediately pull the mixture. Low fuel light means that we have less than 5 minutes of fuel left, so land immediately. The rule at our school is we have to land with at least 30 minutes fuel left in the tank. The low RPM light indicates that the rotor RPM is below limit. Recovery action can be found in some of my other videos under auto rotations. Then we also have 3 more lights a bit lower down. The alternator light, this could indicate a possible alternator failure. Land as soon as practical. The battery can usually supply about 20 minutes of electrical power. The oil light, red light, means land immediately. It shows loss of engine power or low oil pressure. Next is your governor light. Firstly, you can check if your governor switch is on or off. Sometimes people accidentally switch it off. The governor switch is at the front of the twist grip throttle, which is at the front of the collective. The governor basically automatically opens and closes the throttle as necessary. If the switch is on and you have governor failure, you'll just have to complete the flight using manual throttle. Then we can move on to the next panel of gauges, starting with our vertical speed indicator there at the top left. Basically shows our rate of climb or descent measured in foot per minute. The collective plays a big part in this gauge. I'll leave a link in the description where you can go check out a video on controls and their effects. The artificial horizon is an instrument that indicates the helicopter's pitch or roll attitude. And it's something we often use when showing students how to do medium rate turns at the beginning of their training. You can look at the top, very top in that blue arc, there's a thick white line and then smaller white lines to the right and to the left of it. And each small or thinner white line represents 10 degrees of bank angle. So you've got 10 degrees, 20 degrees and 30 degrees. The airspeed indicator basically shows our airspeed in knots. And the cyclic has a significant impact on our airspeed. So go click on that link about the controls and the primary and secondary effects, where I explain a bit more about that. Next is the engine and rotor RPM gauge. The throttle controls the engine RPM, and the throttle is located at the front of the collective. It's like a twist grip throttle. When you roll it to the left, it opens, and when you roll it to the right, it closes. Alrighty, next line of gauges, our altimeter, basically indicates the height above a certain reference point. The long arm indicates hundreds of feet and the short arm indicates thousands of feet. So here you can see we are flying at 500 foot and in this one at 1,000 foot, and in the next video 1,300 foot. The manifold pressure gauge, power changes are basically shown here. It is indicated in inches of mercury, and there's a mechanical device called a correlator. Each time the collective is raised or lowered, the correlator automatically changes the power that is used. Alrighty, moving further down the instrument case here is the carb temp gauge. Now, carburetor icing happens when water vapor in the carburetor freezes. And if ice is allowed to build up, it can cut off the engine completely. And how that happens is when we have humid air and a low power setting. So let's say we're descending for a long time and it's humid air, ice can easily build up. So if we pull the carb heat control, which is situated here close to the collective, it diverts hot air from air around the exhaust to the carburetor instead of fresh air. Okay, these 6 gauges are next. First up is the alternator. This will indicate whether our alternator is charging or not. And then we've got our fuel gauges. The top one is the smaller or the auxiliary fuel tank. And each one of those white stripes in that gauge means 15 minutes of fuel. And then the bottom one is the main tank, and each one of those white stripes indicates 30 minutes of fuel. And then we've got the cylinder head temperature, the oil temperature, and the oil pressure gauges. Then there's a few switches. We've got our navigation lights that we only use during night or in emergencies. Our strobe light is the red flashing light on the tail boom. It's always on when the battery is on. Clutch switch up, then it is engaged, down and it is disengaged. And then our alternator and battery switches and the key to start the helicopter. This panel just houses all of the avionics like the radio and the transponder and so on. Here is the mixture controls. It controls the amount of fuel delivered to the carburetor. And we also fly with this mixture guard on just to prevent accidentally pulling of the mixture. This is our cyclic trimmer. It's used during longer flights. It just eases the pilot workload. Well, I just call it the helicopter power steering. And then we've got 2 friction controls, one for the cyclic and one for the collective. It just provides adjustable resistance. It prevents the controls from moving up during our start-up and shutdown procedures. The rotor brake is here behind the pilot seat. Seat belts. This is how our door latches. There's a little air vent that we often use when flying in South Africa in the warmer weather. There's a fuel shut-off valve which completely cuts the fuel to the engine. And that is it.